Hi guys, Brain here, and welcome to the video I was originally going to make instead of the Xenomorph one that came out the other day. I had mentioned that a video I had planned to make got postponed because so many people were sending me that the Xenomorph changes proposition, so I wanted to just get that out there instead of responding to everybody individually. But today's video, well, our original video, is talking about the good old killer clowns from outer space, because I'm sure that you guys have been both on my Twitch, I have been directly asked, and on YouTube, you've probably been wondering, oh, are you going to play that? Because I've been playing every single This Is Gonna Kill Dead by Daylight ASIM that has come out. I played VHS, I played Texas Chainsaw, and now Killer Clowns is out. So, you know, will there be videos about that on the channel? Will there be stuff about that on the channel? The short answer is no, at least not for now. And this doesn't come from any sort of place of like, I think the game's inherently unfun, I think the game's terrible, it's made by bad people. There's no real like gripe with it. I think I'm burnt out and exhausted. Not with content creation, not with Dead by Daylight, I don't think anything like that. But I think I'm just burnt out on the whole concept of, oh, hey, this is the new Dead by Daylight killer. Because I've been through this for years and years at this point of big game comes out. It's actually fun, guys, trust me. And everybody's trying to rally to play it, and everybody's trying to rally to support other ASIMs, and we should just do it fundamentally, even if we don't enjoy it, because it gives behavior competition. And I'm just exhausted with this whole like cycle that seems to be a thing. I'm sure you've especially seen it with other DBD content creators, especially ones that are not too enthused with the state of the game, is they play DBD because it's the only thing they can play, and then new ASIM that is competition DBD comes out, they switch over or make it their majority game, and they're like, guys, no, trust, this is super fun and great. And then inevitably the game, you know, plods along for like 3 or 4 months, maybe longer. Then eventually some problem rears its ugly head, and the game either loses its popularity or some sort of controversy hits the actual company behind it themselves, and then everybody comes slowly crawling back to Dead by Daylight. I think while I really like the idea of having another ASIM that's super fun and chill to play on the side, that's just has not been in my experience. It wasn't my experience with VHS, it wasn't my experience with Texas Chainsaw, and it's probably not going to be my experience with Killer Clowns from Outer Space. I think the main thing for me is just like the price point. And this has been another big criticism on in the Dead by Daylight sphere, especially on DBD Twitter, is like, why would you spend $10-20 on like a skin or like a DLC in a skin, but you're not willing to spend $40 on Killer Clowns? Well, because DBD continues to be played every single day almost in my library. It doesn't just sit there and gather dust like Texas Chainsaw does now. Or let's not even get started about VHS. You know what's funny? I still have the original Hellbent launcher over here, back from when it was the closed beta, just on my desktop over here. I think it's very, very funny that I still have that. Yeah, it doesn't just sit in my library and do nothing. Even if I'm not actively playing that killer or that character that I have the skin on, I'm actively playing Dead by Daylight all the time. So me investing in like a $10 skin, which is like a fourth of the price of Killer Clowns, it makes more sense to me because this game still is being played. I just want to say this, half of my jump cuts are like little cuts that I make in the editing since I have owned Will have just been because Will is just like knocking something over or bumping into something, and I get concerned. Like, he is like 90% of the reason you see the video cuts that you do is because I am very worried about you doing something you shouldn't. Anyways, the point I was making was that for $40 just for something to sit in my library and do nothing, that's just like, we always talk about like sunk cost, and that's a reason people get super attached to things. I'm like the opposite. Like, the idea of a sunk cost like actively like deters me from being interested in something and continuing to be interested in it. So the idea that like I got Texas Chainsaw and it was fun initially and I had a good time with it, and then over time the game's problems reared its ugly head, and then the devs were kind of just like, oh well, it's a fun game, not a balanced game, so we're not going to balance anything for a while. In addition to all the other myriad of issues it's had, like the queue problem, the way they handled the queue problem, just the nature of the game, meaning that like if you don't have good teammates on family, you're just kind of like host. There's a lot that goes into why TCM is in such a shoddy state as it is, but the point being, regardless, is that I spent a lot of money on that, and now it just sits in my library and just does nothing. And it's specifically the caveat here is that, like, specifically this is an online multiplayer game, and it's not like, you know, Resident Evil 4, which I spent a lot of money on, but I can fire that up and get fun out of that any time. I don't have to have a core group of players at hand all the time to play that game. I can just load up Resident Evil 4, have a great time. So when I spend a lot of money on other games that don't require the multiplayer experience, like, it doesn't matter too much because, you know, I'm just not in the mood for this game or to have a playthrough of it right now. But one day I will, and I can just go back and play it, no problem. But as games lose their popularity for one reason or another, and all they have is that online component, then the game quite literally is just not worth playing, and then it just sits there and gathers dust and does nothing. And when you've spent a lot of money on that sucks. That really, really sucks. So yeah, right now people in Klowns are like, no, this game's actually really, really fun, and it's actually really great. And I remember people saying that about VHS. I remember people saying that about Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I said that about Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I was like, wow, this game's actually pretty great. This game's actually pretty fun. And then people started optimizing it. People started figuring out how to cheese the balance. People started seeing the flaws in the game's just inherent design, like I mentioned with the family and tracking and teammates and stuff like that earlier. And the way that a company responds to the flaws in the game is the make it or break it on whether it dies or doesn't. That is the end all be all of, does this game actually make it past just the honeymoon phase of, wow, new thing, awesome? How does the dev team respond to the issues the game has as it decides to actually live past its initial 3 months? And we've seen plenty of indie dev companies that are trying to make an ASIM competition to Dead by Daylight make tremendous mistakes when it comes to addressing these issues, and it kind of just snowballs into their eventual doom. So I am not exactly excited at the prospect of spending $40 just to repeat this cycle over again of, hey, this game's really fun at first, but issues are going to crop up. Will the devs handle it correctly? If they don't, this is another just waste of money and honestly waste of time at the same time. So I know that's not really like the super positive, super, hi, I'm ex-YouTuber and I can't wait to play the brand new ASIM. Like that's not like the super nice, cordial, ultra positive take, but it's how I feel. Like I said, I'm not like refusing to play the game. Like if a friend so decides that, hey, I want to play with you and it's important enough that I play with you, then I'm going to get you the game. Yeah, I'll play it and then I'll make content on the game and then it'll be fine. But in terms of me, myself, and I spending money on that, yeah, no, I'm not spending money on it. So yeah. Are you guys in a similar boat? Are you guys thinking like, I am really, really tired of this new ASIM on the scene trend that just crops up every once in a while and you're tired like I am? Or are you like, no, maybe there's something actually here with Klowns from Outer Space? Honestly, I hope so. I hope it's the one that, you know, breaks the mold and actually does something unique and interesting that sticks it around. And like I said, the dev team responds to the issues in the game in an appropriate and good manner that aids the longevity of the game. But if that is not the case, then I have dodged an expense that is very big. So woo. But other than that, that is it for today's video, friends. Thank you so much for watching. But I do upload daily, so I will see you tomorrow. But if I do not, I will see you when I see you. Goodbye.